In the beginning, long before cities, technology, or written history, life had only one meaning: to survive. In prehistoric times, survival was not guaranteed. Every sunrise brought new dangers. Every sunset brought uncertainty. Early humans had to fight against hunger, cold, wild beasts, and even other humans. They lived with fear, but also with courage, determination, and the dream of a better tomorrow. This is the story of one such tribe, thousands of years ago, living between rivers, forests, and caves, struggling not only to stay alive, but also to lay the first stones on the long path of human civilization. Part 1. The Dawn of a Struggle. The sun slowly rose over the dense forest. The first golden rays touched the cold earth as birds screamed in the distance. A small tribe stirred inside a dark cave. Their leader, Reka, a strong but wise man, stepped outside with caution. Behind him followed his mate Ayla, a brave and resourceful woman, and their teenage son Toran, who was learning the harsh lessons of survival. For them, mornings meant more than light. It meant another chance at life. Their first task was always the same: fetch water, check the surroundings for predators, and prepare for the day's hunt. Each step outside the cave was a step into danger. Part 2. The Forest of Fear. The forest was alive with sound: rustling leaves, distant growls, the shriek of eagles above. Raka and a few hunters carried sharpened stone spears. Their eyes scanned every shadow, because in every bush there could be a wolf, a bear, or worse. On this day, they faced a pack of wolves. Hungry eyes glowed in the dark as the pack circled them. The hunters shouted, banged stones, and waved burning branches to scare them off. The wolves finally retreated, but the message was clear. In this world, humans were not the masters. They were prey, fighting to climb higher in nature's chain. Part 3. The Gift of Fire. Back in the cave, Ayla rubbed stones together, desperately trying to spark fire. For days she had practiced, failing again and again. Then one night a tiny spark caught on dry grass. Flames grew. The tribe gasped in wonder. Fire brought warmth, light, and above all, safety. For the first time, humans felt power over darkness. Fire kept predators away, cooked raw meat, and gave comfort against the brutal cold. Around the flames, the tribe sang, clapped stones, and felt something new: hope. Part 4. Hunger and Desperation. But fire could not stop hunger. Food was always scarce. Sometimes the hunters returned empty-handed for days. Women and children searched for roots, berries, and edible plants. But often mistakes were fatal. One man once ate a strange root, and within hours his breath stopped. The tribe mourned him, and the lesson was carved deep in their memory. The world offered food, but also poison. Every bite was a risk. Every meal was a victory. Part 5. Storms and Seasons. The weather was an enemy as fierce as any beast. When storms raged, caves flooded. During bitter winters, without furs or firewood, children shivered to death. One cold night, Ayla wrapped her son Toran tightly against her chest, giving him her warmth. The tribe huddled together, body against body, sharing what little heat they had. Survival was not just an individual struggle. It was the unity of the tribe that kept them alive through the merciless seasons. Part 6. The Hunt for Giants. One day, the hunters decided to risk everything for a great prize: the mammoth. Armed with sharpened spears and courage, they surrounded the enormous beast. The ground shook as the mammoth roared. Spears flew, stones were hurled, men screamed. Hours of struggle ended with the giant collapsing onto the earth. The tribe cheered. There would be meat, bones for tools, hide for shelter. Yet the victory had a price. 2 young hunters were crushed under the mammoth's weight. Their sacrifice was carved into the memory of the tribe. Survival always demanded blood. Part 7. Bonds of the Tribe. In joy and in sorrow, the tribe stood together. Women treated the wounded with herbs and strange roots. Children learned to shape stones into blades, to light fires, to track animal prints in mud. Around the fire stories were told, not in words, but in gestures, drawings, and chants. This unity was their greatest weapon. Alone, a man would die. Together, they lived another day. Part 8. Enemies of their own kind. Wild animals were not the only danger. Other human tribes also fought for survival. Disputes over rivers, caves, or hunting grounds often led to bloodshed. Once Reka faced another tribe's leader in battle. Stones clashed, spears struck, blood spilled on the earth. At last, Reka stood victorious, but many of his men lay dead. Survival was never just about nature. It was also about fighting those who were just like them. Part 9. Childhood and the Spark of Tomorrow. Maybe these children would find new ways to live. Maybe they would discover something beyond survival. Maybe they would change the world. Part 10. The first signs of civilization. Generations passed. Slowly, humans learned more. They shaped weapons from bones and wood, not just stone. They painted animals on cave walls, recording their lives for the first time. These paintings were not just art. They were the first steps toward memory, toward history, toward culture. Humans were no longer just surviving. They were thinking, creating, and building. Conclusion. Prehistoric life was a battle fought every single day, against hunger, against predators, against cold, and against each other. Many died, but some endured. They discovered fire, forged tools, formed tribes, and began the long journey toward becoming who we are today. We live in cities now, safe from the dangers of wild beasts and storms. But it is only because our ancestors, millions of years ago, refused to give up. They fought for life with bare hands and raw courage. Part 11. The Long Journey of Wandering. For countless generations, humans remained wanderers. They moved from valley to valley, forest to forest, always chasing herds of animals and searching for edible plants. The tribe never stayed in one place for too long. If food was gone, they had to move. If danger grew, they had to flee. Life was unstable, but it kept them alive. Each migration was filled with risk. Crossing rivers where crocodiles lurked, climbing mountains where a single slip meant death, or walking for days without water. Yet the tribe endured step by step, one season after another. Part 12. The First Graves. As years passed, humans began to treat death differently. Instead of leaving bodies for animals, they buried them in the earth. Stones were placed on top. Flowers and bones of animals were offered. This was the first sign of something new: belief. The idea that life did not end with death, that perhaps their loved ones continued in another world. Around the fire, Isla whispered to her son Toran, "The spirit of your grandfather watches the stars now." Toran looked at the sky, wondering if the shining lights above were the souls of the dead. Part 13. The discovery of language. At first, communication was only grunts, gestures, and cries, but slowly sounds gained meaning. Words were born. Water, fire, danger, food. With words, they could plan hunts, warn of threats, share memories. Language became humanity's invisible weapon, stronger than stone, sharper than bone. For the first time, knowledge could pass from one generation to the next. Part, Step 14. The First Village. After endless wandering, the tribe discovered fertile land near a wide river. Here plants grew easily, and animals came to drink. Instead of moving again, they stayed. Huts of wood and grass were built. Stones were arranged in circles. For the first time, humans created home. The days of constant wandering were slowly ending. They were learning that the land itself could provide, if they cared for it. Part 15. Farming the Earth. The greatest change came when someone noticed seeds left behind near the river sprouted into plants. Instead of only gathering food, they began to plant it. Wheat, barley, beans, and fruits. Small gardens grew near their huts. No longer did they rely only on the chase of the hunt. Farming had been born. This was the true revolution. With farming came food surplus. With food surplus came growth, and with growth came new challenges. Part 16. Animals become allies. Wolves that once hunted them slowly became their companions. The tamest were fed scraps. Over time, wolves turned into dogs, protecting the village and helping in hunts. Goats and sheep were trapped, bred, and raised for milk, meat, and hides. Instead of chasing animals endlessly, humans began to domesticate them. For the first time, humans were bending nature to their will. Part 17. The Rise of Rituals. With food. Security came free time. Around fires, humans painted stories on cave walls, carved bones into flutes, and danced under the moon. They made idols from stone and clay, small figures of women with round shapes, symbols of fertility, of life itself. They prayed to the sun, the moon, and the rain. Belief had grown into ritual. Ritual had grown into religion. Part 18. Disease and suffering. But with villages came new dangers. Living close together meant sickness spread quickly. Children died from fevers, adults from unknown pains. Healers tried herbs, smoke, and chants. Some cures worked, others failed. Death was still never far. The tribe began to realize survival was no longer just about beasts of the forest. Now, invisible enemies lurked inside their very homes. Part 19. Conflict and War. As villages grew, so did greed. Neighboring tribes wanted fertile land and fresh rivers. Spears clashed, huts burned, and blood stained the soil. Battles were not just for food anymore.